little sage for everybody. Little sage for me. Hi everyone. So this week we're going to do our general reading with the Enchanted Forest Tarot by Linnea Weatherstone and Marilla Allwood. So here it is. And of course the Amenti Oracle, which we always use. It's a staple for us. So we're going to look through until we find our Fool. And in fact, I was just paging through these and I feel like the Fool was towards the back. So for the sake of our sanity, I'm just going to So here's our Fool. So the White Heart has been elected. And I'm going to shuffle the White Heart into the deck and begin the process. So this is the second card that's jumped out. It keeps trying to give me a reading because I like to work with jumpers on my own, and I have not really used this one to read for other people yet, so it's not programmed that way yet. So we're looking for our significator. Ooh, how did the Hangman get turned upside down? Okay, not in this pile. Not in this pile. There is the White Heart at the end of the journey there. Whew, that's a relief. So they must be in Pentacles pile, right at the bottom. So there is our Fool, and the Fool's in the Pentacles pile again. So as we go into this week, which is the 1st of December, starting today, through the 7th of December, any problems, issues, difficulties, etc. that come up are most readily going to be solved through sensing. Using the 5 senses, stretching into the space around us, and by coming to things from a place of really a non-conceptual thought, right? So sensing and feeling rather than thinking. Again, not an easy thing for some of us to do. And it's also not the emotions, right? It's not giving the emotions necessarily our way of solving problems, but it's also by recognizing that just simply by staying with something and by being, remembering that we are human beings rather than human doings, we have the capacity to solve whatever comes up. Wow, I just heard that come out of my mouth. I really need that advice for myself as well. So yeah, And it also means that the things that we're going to be paying attention to, unsurprisingly, right? Tomorrow's Cyber Monday, is going to be things like finances, money, earthly things, gifts, property, stuff, right? We're paying attention to our stuff. And really paying attention to three-dimensional material reality. It's the world around us that we're paying attention to. Okay, so with that in mind, I'll go ahead and pick up our other piles here. And we'll pull an Amenti card. And I'll get the Enchanted Forest guidebook out of my armpit there. Okay, so... to know for the week. Ooh. Oops, upside down. So what do we have? We have I keep my own counsel. Wow. I keep my own counsel. That is a wonderful card. Yeah, nobody can really tell you the answers. We have to find them for ourselves. That's one of the hardest things that we ever have to come to, isn't it? It's not possible sometimes to ask advice because the only person who can really know what's best is you. Yeah, that's a lot about adulting. It's not easy to do that. I would love it if somebody could give me the answers to things, but yeah, we really need to know it for ourselves. Let me just see if there's anything in the book that might offer us something. Look how beautiful the book is. It's just so good and juicy. Okay. Okay, naturally on a day when I have a little bit less time than what I would really like, this is one of the longest ones in the whole book because this is the one where the 42 laws of Mott are outlined, and it's given a lot of pages, and they're really freaking good. So I'm going to give you the highlights. Mott, as a living principle, is the embodiment of order, and in living this principle, our daily experience becomes a personification of fairness, truth, and balance to circumvent chaos through actions that are just. Just being the key word, as it is defined by an unbiased equilibrium. Wow. She goes on to say, in living the idea of keeping your own counsel, it is important to ask yourself who you are behind closed doors when no one is watching and you are left to your own devices, acting only as the perceiver, not the perceived. Do your actions remain balanced in what you do, who you are, how you live? Does what you do not... okay, it took me a second to figure this out. Sometimes when people write the way that they speak or the way that they talk, it's impossible to read. Does what you do not do have the same intention as what is done? Keeping your own counsel is practicing mindfulness in each moment by paying attention to your behavior and remembering to remain in alignment with truth, whether you are the object of perception or the subject who perceives. It is understanding that chaos and contrast give birth to clarity and order, is found when we are met with triumph over disorder. There needed to be a comma in that sentence. It is understanding that chaos, I'm going to put one in there right now. English teacher, can't take it. It is not readable without a comma. Let's see, it is understanding that chaos and contrast give birth to clarity, comma, and order is found that when we are met with and triumph over disorder. The principle, so if you want to, wow, can you hear me doing this? I'm still going to do it. If you're going to do an antithesis in a sentence, you've got to have punctuation that separates your antithetical statements. Anyway, the principle of Mott, the nature of the Tao, invisible forces that govern all of what is visible, have a timeless wisdom that has trickled through parables, fairy tales, myths, and mystical transcripts from all ages. The consolation of keeping one's own counsel comes when the idealized human understands that the mysteries of fate and the manifestations of dreams both spring from the same well, the all-seeing, all-knowing, interconnected mind that is present in every myth and memory. Contrast constructs consciousness, and consciousness, like a rubber band once stretched, never returns to its prior dimensions, usefulness being found not in what is no more, but rather what is. Wow. Yeah. So really, it's what I was saying in my November wrap-up video, for those of you who've seen that, about, sometimes you have to just go with the flow and adapt to the conditions and circumstances around you, understanding that you just can't control everything, but you can control your response to them, right? And keeping your own counsel is part of that. How do I manage myself? How do I manage my own response to the world? Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go ahead and set up our circle. Peoples. Okay, and I'm ready to go ahead and count the cards. This will be tricky because the titles are down here, so I need to make sure I know exactly which card I'm looking at as I count. So starting with the Fool, we're counting 9 cards anti-clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I knew it. Okay, the 5 of Challenges is first. That's the 5 of Swords. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I knew this one. This one popped out. This was a jumper. 8 of Challenges. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Beautiful. So the next one is the Chariot or the Fairy Wind. And the Chariot is a zodiac, so 12 is the number that's associated with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Beautiful. 4 of Boons. And boons are the pentacles in this deck. So we've got 4 pentacles here, guys, and it's a winner. Okay, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, 10 of boons. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is the 2 of Swords or 2 of Challenges. And then 1, 2, oh wow, I love this one, the 9 of Challenges. Wow, lots, it looks like we've got all Pentacles and Swords this week. So 9 of Challenges, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're back to the 8 of Challenges. Okay, folks, so we're looking at kind of a challenging week, so to speak. Sorry, no pun. Well, no pun. Pun is totally intended there because we got to lighten the atmosphere around these cards, y'all. We got some stinkers. We got some stinkers, but we also have some really lovely cards too. So let's see, we've got the 5 of challenges, the 8 of challenges, the fairy wind, 4 of boons, 10 of boons, 2 of challenges, and the 9 of challenges. Okay, and since it jumped, I'm seeing why this particular card jumped out at us. I need to just start taking the jumpers that come out for these and keeping them because they generally have a purpose. I think it was in the first pile. Yeah, good memory for that stuff. Okay, so it was the sunlight card or the sun card. And yeah, we want to have that one with us for sure while we look at all of these. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and swap the camera around and we'll see what we've got. Okay, so this week we've got 7 cards, which feels right because the one major that we've got over here is also the Chariot or the Fairy Wind. And I am going to read some of the meanings for these cards because I can't do them justice yet the way that Linnea Weatherstone does. I just love the way she writes in this deck and writes about the images. It's beautiful. So the first thing I noticed when I set the cards up is that we've got this interesting parity between the 5 of challenges and the 9 of challenges. We've also got this interesting balance here between the 8 of challenges and the 2. You know, we've got fee, fi, fo, fum over here on the left. I smell the blood of an Englishman, and then we've got the Englishman hiding, you know, in the 9 of challenges and taking refuge from giants and trolls and so forth. And then here we have the 8 of challenges where she can't see her way, but then we get, you know, the possibility of seeing her way, right? In the 2 of challenges, of being able to see what's there. And then the Fairy Wind is it's in an interesting position. I'm surprised it's not more central. As we go along, I'm feeling like that'll become clearer. But it's interesting that it's opposite the 10 of boons. Okay, and the 10 of boons is about like welcome home. Welcome back to your tribe. Welcome back to something calm and familiar. So the choice that we're making on some level is going to lead us there. And it looks like that is something that we're going to need to keep in mind when we, you know, as we go towards the end of the journey. It feels to me like there are going to be a lot of choices in this reading and a lot of choices to make in the coming week to do with mindset, the way that we view the world, the way that we're thinking about the world around us and our responses to it. Which is perfectly in keeping with our Oracle card there of I keep my own counsel. If anything, I feel like, if I can reach it, this sunlight card, which is, you know, this beautiful Pan playing his pipes, you know, this really kind of gives us a theme for the week. Remember, the sun is still shining, folks. The sun is still shining, whatever it is, you know, challenging as it may be. The sun is still shining. You still have your tribe. You're still home. Keep your own counsel and don't get distracted by all of the bullshit, okay? Because we've got some, I feel like this 4 of boons is telling us about some major bullshit that's coming up. And how we respond to that bullshit is going to be, you know, that's going to be key. Let's look at these trolls here for a minute. It's the 4 of boons. These guys these folks keeping the trolls, you know, the trolls keeping the pies are not particularly friendly. They don't want you to have their pies. This guy has a pie, he probably paid for the pie. They're not happy about him having the pie, and he's still suspicious about everything it took. I'm just riffing here, you know, about what it took to get the pie. And then we have the one sitting under here hiding a pie and munching it. You know, it's such a brilliant little card. I love the way she's done this one. Marela Allwood, she adds so much detail, and actually she works in miniature. So the pictures and images we get here are not really much different from the size that she was actually working with. So fascinating. So let's start here with the 5 of challenges. which is the Five of Swords. I'm going to pull it up here in the book because the first card gives us so much. So let's see. I'm going to hold up our card. He looks like someone I know. And haven't quite placed him yet. Probably one of the people in the artist community locally here. Lots of little bones in his beard and that braid. Those are all bones. Oof, it's so good. So, when you come upon a giant, it is safe to assume that he is not interested in anything you have to say. So save your breath for running. Oh, God, I'm sorry, guys. This is not how I wanted to start off the week, but it is how I'm starting off my week, actually. Let's see. There are friendly giants, but they are rare in the general giant population as giants with a sense of humor. So this giant isn't comical at all, nor is he stereotypical stupid bumbler. He's dangerous, not because he's evil, but because he's big. He also has a short temper, and he's giving you one chance to get out of his space before he deals with you. The giant signifies a situation in your life where you may be overestimating your chances against an opponent. Sometimes being quicker in an argument doesn't work because the other will not or cannot engage in that way. Do not equate slowness with stupidity, and don't equate stupidity with harmlessness. Stay on the alert until you know who and what you are dealing with. So, meaning at a glance, overwhelming odds, a fight you can't win. Choose your battles and live to fight another day. Interesting, I said the bones because it says here in the book, do you see the bones in his beard? Don't add yours to his collection. Here is the illustration in the book, which is huge and a little bigger so you can actually see the bones in his beard. It's extraordinary illustrative detail. I mean, just extraordinary. I really admire this artist. Okay, so going into the week this week, starting today, starting the 1st of December, we're just going to be up against it. That's just where we are. There's a lot of stuff happening. Christmas is a lot closer to Thanksgiving this year than we've had in past years. And, it's the end of the year, so there's always a lot of pressure to get everything done, okay? So we're being reminded that we can choose our battles and we don't want to underestimate anything. So we need to pay attention. That's, I feel, where that sensing and being comes in handy. Okay, if you're up against a giant, whether he's slow or whether he's fast, whether he's intelligent or whether he's stupid, you won't be able to know that with any certainty unless your mind is clear. And how do we clear the mind? We slow down a little bit. We come back to the breath. We come back to the moment. Doesn't mean we can pause and meditate necessarily, but there's nothing to stop us from moment to moment pausing and taking in what's around us. Okay? So that said, we may begin to feel that we're not worthy of this battle. Okay? The Eight of Challenges here is showing us that there's brambles and thorns all around. She's so intimidated by it, she's afraid to look. She's afraid to even look. She's scared. It's a lot. She doesn't want to deal with it. To me, this reads of overwhelm and nervousness, not knowing quite what to do. Yeah. And yet, if she would just open her eyes and look around and recognize, like, okay, there's thorns, but thorns are not going to kill you. I can pull my scarf free, I can pull my dress free, and I can move forward. Interesting, it requires, her ability to escape what she's in right now with this overwhelm comes back to being in the body. Comes back to being in the body. Can I feel, can I sense what's here, what's in my immediate environment? Okay, now what? And she's free. So we're going to be managing that overwhelm. And, this is a reminder that we've got to come back to that spaciousness and back to that pentacle pile sensing in order to be able to move forward, let go of the mind. Then we have the fairy wind. Okay, and it is the Chariot card. I'm going to read this one because I feel it's important to do so. And I'm not super familiar. I'm still getting to know this deck as well. So having that extra reinforcement is always helpful when reading for others. All right, so the Fairy Wind. So what we have here, actually, I'm just going to show you the book. We're having a little story time. So the quiet mood of the forest shifts, subtly at first, and then with increasing tension, like the breathless hush before a storm. You hear a rushing sound in the distance, growing louder as it approaches. It is the sound of treetops dancing in a wind. I don't know if we'll be able to hear that, but that's what they're doing outside right now. Ooh. It is the sound of treetops dancing in a wind that comes closer and closer until it is upon you, lifting your hair and cooling your cheeks. You're surrounded by a sudden fragrance of bluebells and moss and honey. This is no ordinary breeze. It betokens the wild flight of the Fae. They flash into your view, imperious, haughty, beautiful beyond words. Your heart yearns after them with a sharp urgency to go where they go and see what they see. But never attempt to chase them. Trust me, it will not turn out well. The fairies follow their own path, and you must follow yours. The fairy wind is a powerful sign of ultimate success. Only the most fortunate see the Fae, though many have felt their passing. Things will pick up speed for you now, and your endeavors will flow swiftly toward a positive outcome. Continue forward with increased confidence. So the meaning at a glance: speed, change, important news, success, self-governance. Again, we have that I keep my own counsel card. Independent achievement. Closer look. Legends tell of people who were swept up by the fairy wind and deposited miles away. If this happens to you, don't be in a rush to return. Boy, I would love for the fairies to come and pick me up. I don't know about y'all, but oh boy, that would be nice. I say that, I'd better watch my words. It is a windy day outside. And they tried a little bit earlier and it was like, no. Okay, so it looks like we've got a wonderful choice, right? We've got this difficulty being presented. There's something bigger at hand here, folks. We're going to be okay, right? This is why we have sunlight and fairy wind. It's here to tell us and remind us, no matter what we're seeing as these big challenges, fee, fi, fo, fum, it's not going to be so bad, you bum. Just came up with that. Don't know if you could tell. But anyway, it's not going to be so horrible. You know, we're going to have what we need. We just have to follow our own path, and we do need to rely on self-governance, right? So we keep our own counsel. Keep our own counsel. What do we need to do for ourselves? And then how do we embody the kind of, look at that. She's holding and hugging a feather. How do we keep a feather-light heart this week? Through keeping of our own counsel. All right. So let's look here at these trolls. The Four of Boons. I feel like we need to read the Four of Boons as well. It is a wonderful card. Okay. Yeah, this is not shocking. Okay, maybe I won't. We talked about it, and it's, as I look at the meaning, it's, you know, it's really not far off from what I said. So, you know, the troll wives here, right? Someone's feeling overly attached to their belongings, and the meaning at a glance, of course, we know what this is, right? Greed, poverty consciousness, hoarding, fearful attachment to our possessions. So maybe the fear of not wanting to spend too much, of not wanting to, you know, expend all of our resources all in one go. Maybe we spent too much on Black Friday. I did not personally engage in it because I don't. And I was working, and that worked for me. So, you know, what is it that we could let go of? Can we afford to spend? You know, instead of using this fear consciousness about it, what could we do instead? And it may not mean that we give anything up. It may not mean that we spend a penny, but maybe letting go of this fearful consciousness would be helpful moving forward this week. Maybe not doing quite so much sneaking the pies under the table. Yeah, I have to admit, I do that kind of a little bit. I'll go and get a bunch of peanut butter cups and I'll give Tom some of them, but I'll keep the feedback for myself for later when it gets stressful. Okay, moving on. 10 of Boons, right? So this is our point of balance this week, actually. I don't want to speed past that. The point of balance this week is in recognizing that fear consciousness, hoarding, and poverty consciousness is not going to solve our problems. We're actually in a far better place than we might realize, right? The fairy wind and the 10 of Boons opposite one another are telling us that those things can be in balance. One is not necessarily an antidote to the other in this case, but they are definitely reflecting what the riches are, where they're coming from, and what kind of good things there are, to come. So we look at the 10 of Boons or the 10 of Coins. It's not just about having enough money and stuff. It's about the kind of wealth that comes from knowing you have your home, you have your tribe, you have enough. You have enough of all of the beautiful good things that you need. Can you walk through the door and be worthy of that? Okay, and that's part of what the fairy wind is bringing us. And it's the antidote ultimately to this 4 of Boons, is recognizing there is plenty, there is enough, all is well. And it may also indicate that we're stepping into a new phase with money and work and so forth, whereby it may feel like there's a lot of things wrapping up. It's a 10, so it's the end of a cycle before a new cycle begins. Finding that like everything is actually going to be okay. Even though we're feeling like maybe it won't be. It will be. Moving forward, we've got the 2 of Challenges. Let's read 2 of Challenges. I can't quite there's a slightly different meaning for this one, and I can't quite bring it to mind. Okay, so we'll do fairy tale story time here again. So traveling through the forest, a young man suddenly comes upon a magic mirror blocking his path. The looking glass hangs in midair with no visible means of support and no way to remove it. The forest is thick with undergrowth here. He can't go forward, he can't go around, and he doesn't want to go back. So he chooses the obvious solution. He looks into the mirror. He sees himself exactly as he is. No mystical vision or otherworldly entity, just his own startled, wide-eyed self. You may have gotten into a situation from which there is no obvious movement forward, no obvious positive movement forward. This card signifies a pause for clarification, not about the situation, but about your place in it. You can't go any farther on this path until you take a long look at yourself. Stop being in denial about your own faults and failings. Stop distracting yourself to avoid facing the truth. You will make better progress when you are clearer about your true intentions. So do you see how this is a hard-hitting deck? Right? When we get a good card, it's very, very positive. It's very helpful. But this deck does not sugarcoat a damn thing. So the meaning at a glance is stalemate, inability to compromise, a pause for contemplation. Mirrors have a long history in the world of enchantments. While you may on occasion see other beings in the mirror, remember that it is also a magical power to truly see yourself. Okay, so all of this is going to cause, this week, the biggest challenge appears to be self-imposed. All right, we may be looking at things, we may be with this giant looking at conditions and things that come from outside of us that triggers things. Okay, whatever that may be, whatever that challenge is, and it's from it's the sword suit. I mean, it's going to be a challenge in terms of thinking or strategy. yeah, it feels to me like thinking strategy, conflict is a big one. What kind of conflicts are you going to be navigating or negotiating? Because those are going to be coming up right at the beginning of the week. It may be feeling conflicted about something. The feeling of overwhelm is going to be really powerful. Okay? But here we have this Two of Challenges, which is counterbalancing this Eight of Swords. The remedy to this overwhelm and the I don't know if I can do it is to stop, come back into your body, take all those thorns out, uncover your eyes, and look around you. If you notice too, the thorns, a lot of these thorns are growing out of her hair. They're coming from her own mind. Okay, she's ensnarled in her own thoughts or by her own thoughts. This is saying stop. Just stop. Look at what's right here, right in front of you, and look at yourself. You don't need to be in this place. It's okay. Look at how things are. Look at how you are. Look at how you really are. And you'll know the way forward. And we know that that's going to be, that we've got what we need to help us. We've got our own path. And we can take our own counsel. That's going to help us move forward from a sense of poverty consciousness, a need to hoard things, maybe a need to chase people away from what's yours, what you think is yours, having propriety over things, stuff that you feel should be yours or you should have. That may also be where our source of conflict is coming from this week. I should have this. This should be mine. This is mine. This is something that you can't take from me. Where can you find compromise? Because ultimately, you have everything you need. You have your tribe. You have the warmth of a nice space. You have enough to eat. There's music, there's dancing. And look, they're all beckoning you in. Right? You're part of a bigger picture. You're part of a bigger pattern of events, a larger group of people. It's going to be okay, right? So take this long, hard look at yourself, see where it is that you fit into the bigger picture. And then as we get to this Nine of Challenges, let's see what it has to say and how that fits in. My instinct, let's see what it says. My instinct would be like when you need, when you're feeling that sensitivity of looking at yourself. Yes, you have all of this good that's there, that's possible. But in order to really come back into your own, in fact, I'm just going to go with that because it feels right. In order to really seal up the week, you may need to seek refuge. When things feel scary and when things feel like they're too much, finding a quiet place to settle down and settle in and self-comfort, keep your own counsel, etc., can be a very wise choice. Okay, so when you're needing it this week, take that time, take that break, self-comfort inside your own body, come back to your own breath. What's happening inside? Get out of your mind. The Nine of Challenges tells us, or the Nine of Swords tells us that it's in, everything that's causing us pain inside our own heads is something we have the ability to manage. So come back into your body and you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Pause your thinking. Pause your thoughts. The thoughts and the thinking are like this troll. But when you're in your own body and you're here, you're safe. It is safe inside. Okay. So that is our reading for the week of the 1st of December through the 7th of December. I wish all of us a really good week. It looks like it could be filled with some drama. And we need to do what we can to keep our own counsel and prevent it from being too self-imposed. All right, everybody. With that, I wish you all very, very well with tons and tons of love, and I will see you next time.